We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
What up, what up?
And we're also joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we're here with the episode 12 recap show. And let me tell you, this episode was pretty straightforward. I didn't think much really was kind of out of place or anything like that. I will have to make one statement on this being the 500th episode, and I'll just dive right into it. My opinion of that is the fact that this was tonight's 500th episode, and what did they even show from the past? Like, if we're highlighting 500 episodes of the challenge, what did we see tonight? Why did we not see classic highlights? Why did we not see greatest memories of all time? But they did this 500th episode.
They did this like mini montage for like 5 seconds. And one of the scenes they showed was Anissa. And I mean, just fucking cut it off. She stinks now. She stunk back in the day. Why is she getting brought up in the very small section where they're doing this montage?
Andy. It wasn't even a montage, though. Like you said, it was 4 seconds. We didn't see – did we see – and maybe I was just not paying attention. We didn't see any of, like, the most classic moments in, like, the past 10 years. Go ahead.
We did see one. They did show the banana backpack.
Well, if they didn't show that, a monkey could have done that. Like, good Lord. But I just felt like – at least make it like, if we're going for the 500th episode, why not make it like, do you remember a few seasons ago when you had to put like the seasons in order? Why not do something like that? Like make it around those themes or something. There was no correlation with that. Like if you're hyping up the 500th episode, at least go all out for it. Don't give me a little 5-second montage and see, oh, the banana backpack. We didn't see any of the other greatest moments of all time. So, but the episode itself, what do we think?
I'll go first. I thought it was kind of average. I mean, I'm fine saying that. It's the type of episode, like I think we've all kind of been high on the season overall for the past 12 weeks. It's the kind of episode where if we had this quality episode 10 weeks in a row, 8 weeks in a row, we would be like, this season sucks. Like, I don't think this episode sucked. It was just nothing really popped off the screen. It was, and we'll get into this for sure. It was incredibly predictable. I mean, they might have saved their most predictable episode for their 500th. You knew exactly who was going home. The elimination, I felt, was very weak. The challenge had potential, but they kind of dropped the ball in a few spots. I don't know. I mean, overall, I did not like the episode, but like because the season's been so good, I'm not going to like get down about it, if that makes sense. Like it's episode 12. They can't pump out good episodes for 20 weeks in a row. So I would say C- overall, but I'm not upset about it.
Andy.
So for me, this was a heat check. This was someone who would hit, 2 or 3 3-pointers in a row. They come down the court and they airball. Because that's what this was. This was an airball. I thought this was a bad episode. But there was also a lot of heaters leading up to this. And sometimes you do need that, let's take a step back, let's actually move backwards to move forwards. That's what this was. This was just a heat check for the show. I'm not mad about it because like Alex said, the whole season has been way above average in my mind. So like I'm not going to act like this is going to ruin the whole show. I still think it's on a great trajectory. This was needed. It was kind of a necessary evil, especially when you have 2 rookies this late in the season. And at some point in time, you're going to have that rookie to rookie, someone's got to go show. That's what today was. It was nothing short of a heat check, pull up, airball.
Yeah. I just think, being the 500th episode and doing what they did tonight was just not right, personally. I thought. You can't – and I saw it in the chat earlier. I believe it was Jesse Adams. Why not do a trivia one here? I think that would have been a perfect opportunity of literally doing some of the most you know, who won in pole wrestling in whatever at season, in the final elimination before the final. Stuff like that. I mean, like, it was set up so perfect, and I think they dropped the ball on it. And then, it doesn't help, too, that just wasn't a good episode overall. But I think we can all agree that it might have been a bad episode, but we're still on a good path. Like, the season has been far above expectations. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Adam Enos is in the chat. Hey, Trev, what did you think about the 500 aspect? Haven't gotten Trev's thoughts. No comment, Adam Enos. I'm surprised you're out and NC's not, watching right now. But all right, let's go right into the challenge itself. And we got to start with the beginning, obviously. And Alex, what happened?
Kyle walked in first.
Chalk her up. The streak continues. And then we kind of get right into it between the Nelly-Kyle fight. And to me, this whole fight was just, like, so pointless. Like, Nelly was just freaking out for no reason. I guess Nelly, spoilers a little farther along, Nelly said, like, he was best friend, or, like, he looked at Kyle as a friend and, like, at least tell him and all that stuff and own up to the mistakes, yada, 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 all that stuff. But what do we think about the whole fight aspect between those two?
It made me furious. Things like this have made me really mad the past few seasons. I tweeted about it. But basically my point is, like, the whole concept of, in these newer seasons, the whole concept of people getting mad at other challengers because you stole my partner or you stole my spot on this team. Like, it just pisses me off so much. Like, it's a part of the game. You should get mad at somebody if they lied straight up to your face, or if they blindsided you, or they sent you in, something like that. Like, Kyle took Nelson's spot on a team that, like, Nelson would have done the same thing to Kyle. Like, that type of shit just always makes me mad. We've talked about it the past couple seasons of recaps we've done. So, I mean, it wasn't necessarily that I was on Kyle's side. It was just that I was absolutely against Nelly in that fight.
Andy, your thoughts?
I actually couldn't agree more.
Wow.
And that's that. What?
Dot. Did you say?
That's all I got.
Oh, God, you just ended it right there.
I totally echo that sentiment.
Just rewind 45 seconds for Alex's big speech. Is that what you're saying to all the listeners out there? All right. Good to know. Then we got, after that was the classic challenge foreshadowing between Bettina and I'm going to be voted in and all this stuff. She was looking around. Amanda was talking shit. Who else was talking shit to her? It was Amanda, and who was the other person?
Ashley.
Yeah, behind the scenes, yes.
Yeah.
Those two. And, I mean, we all saw this coming. I mean, like, who else thought she was not? I mean, I think you tweeted it, Alex. Was this not the most foreshadowed elimination of all time?
Yeah, and it kind of sucks. I mean, we know that they do this a lot. I mean, pretty much every episode, but to a different degree every episode. But it sucks in this situation because going into tonight, you probably would have guessed, like, the favorite to go home would probably be Bettina, just because she was a rookie. She's looked at the weakest girl. So to have that kind of thought going into the episode, and then within 5 minutes, you have all these confessionals about how they want to vote her in. Like, it was just chalk it in. Like, she's going home.
This was easily, and a lot of times on any given episode that you can tell who's going to go in, but sometimes they'll kind of throw you off the scent a little bit. This was the most obvious that Bettina was going in. I mean, it was clear as day, like literally from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sad. It's almost like we were sniffing around it on the floor and we could just, know it was coming. So after that, we go into the challenge, right? Nothing really else happened after that. Maybe the little other foreshadowing between the Uncle Emmy talk. Them kind of talking, hey, I would love to have you, all that bullshit. But besides that, anything big before the challenge? All right, you can't just steal my move now. All right, so then we go to the challenge. We're finally here. TJ does the big reveal of 500 episodes, which, I mean, we've already talked about. Andy, anything you want to talk about this challenge? I'll let you have the first reign because this was it was a good concept, but I just thought the challenge itself was terrible. I thought. Like the performance wise, which they can't control.
I was not a fan of this challenge, like at all. And I mean, I've gone on record on this show as saying that I think that I could be much better than these buffoons that they put on the screen. There's no doubt in my mind that I would have scored on offense and stopped them on defense. Like I couldn't have been more confident. Even if I was going against that jokester that claimed he played football at the University of Tennessee. I mean, if anything, this would have been tailor-made for him, and there's no doubt in my mind I would have put him in a body bag. But it was just it was a quote-unquote headbanger, but at the same time, like I did not understand how it was that difficult. So I was not a fan. I felt like when they talked about this being the 500th episode that they were going to do a headbanger, my hopes got very high and they just got absolutely crushed, Chattanooga. So I was not a fan.
All right. Alex, your thoughts.
I mean, kind of like Trev, what you said earlier, like the challenge, I really liked what the idea of the challenge was. Like split it up into guys and girls. And it was basically two different races. Guys went first and then the girls. And it was however much you had at the end of that. I like that. Just have, teams run against each other. You kind of have to strategize like who you're going to tackle, if you're on offense, what bag you're going to take, maybe, give the best players the highest amount. I liked all of that. But then, like you said, the way that it just ended up playing out, I felt like was very bad. It was a shit show with the rain, and it didn't help that they all wore the same color shirt and they only had like the armband, so you could never really tell like who was with who was on offense, defense. And then it was kind of weird like how the guys went and then it seemed like they stopped it, like they stopped the challenge, kind of reset and got the girls ready. So it wasn't like continuously flowing through. So it was just kind of choppy all over the place. I liked what the idea was. I just think they executed it very poorly.
Yeah. Andy, I want your opinion though. If you were to have anybody in this challenge, I guess we'll just take the entire challenge database of all the competitors, and you were to form like your starting three on offense, guys and girls, who would they be?
Well, first and foremost, guy is always going to be Kenny for any given challenge. Second guy is going to be his co-pilot, Evan Starkman. And then third, I mean, very similar to Kenny, where like insert challenge here. I want this guy on my team. It's going to be Bananas. Literally JEK Empire. Girl wise, you have to go Emily first, especially something like this. Immediately followed by Laurel. Both of them physical specimens. Third one gets a little tricky.
SSX?
I think I would say I think I have to say Kara.
Wow.
I really hate saying it, but I think I have to.
Alex, who are your top?
I would go Bananas.
Johnny?
I would go Bananas. I would go Jordan. And I would go.
Wait, Jordan?
Yeah?
Okay.
Interesting.
You shitting on Jordan?
No. Oh, Jordan Wisely. I was thinking of what's his name? Emmanuel. Sorry.
I mean, I know it would be hard for Jordan to grab the bags, but I still want him on my team.
Why?
And then I don't know, Darrell, CT, any of those guys.
Girls?
Girls, Emily, Laurel.
I like Mikey the Doctor's pick here. Jenny. People sleep on
Jenny's
Jenny.
good. I would also might go Camilla.
Ooh. All right, just a round robin so we don't waste all y'all time. Who would be the worst people to have?
Oh God.
Big T.
All right.
Preston.
God. Night.
I mean, I think you have to say Casey's name.
Which Casey? The one tonight?
No, Casey who won.
Siobhan?
Siobhan's got a ring.
God.
All right.
All right, what else we got?
God. All right, so then we go into the actual challenge itself. The first one we had was Green was on offense, Blue was on defense. Green got away with $8,000. But the moment that stuck out to me was how about Josh giving Kyle a nice little stiff arm to the face? I mean, the goof. What do we think about that?
I didn't know he could move like that.
God, I mean, just insane. Not a good look for Kyle. Second heat, we had Blue on offense, Pink on defense, and this is when Blue got $3,000, and it is when CT kind of got murdered. He had like two people, and they kind of just shoved him out of bounds, and he had just nowhere to go. Third heat, we had Pink on offense, Green on defense. They got the big goose egg, $0. I think the highlight, and maybe the highlight of this entire challenge, was when Logan thought he was Tom Brady, running a little set offense play and just, making a little dump off pass. Pretty nice pass, I would say. Anything else to bring up between those three heats?
I mean, I think it's just the fact that like what makes for a bad challenge or a not so good challenge is just that we don't have a whole lot to talk about. It also kind of, as we were going through the heats, it also kind of didn't help just the fact that like the numbers were kind of chopped up for each heat. Like one heat would have 3 guys, 2 guys on defense, offense. And so it was always kind of like messed up that way. And that really didn't help. But overall, even though the challenge wasn't great, I'm still fired up. I'm fired up to be here on Stir the Pod.
After you.
Well, and here's one thing that I wish they would have done more about the challenge itself. I thought the whole smoke aspect of it was very interesting. Like it threw that dynamic in there of like you don't know who's going where with what. But the smoke bombs were terrible. I mean, they lasted for a yard. And then you know exactly who's going where with what bags. I mean, if they would have implemented that more or like had them kind of halfway on the field too, I thought it would have been much more interesting, but it was almost a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they didn't really show, or they showed the smoke bombs maybe the first heat, but like in a different way. But it was like the second heat where CT was on offense, and you saw him say a couple times like, "Oh, we're gonna use these smoke bombs, and we're gonna have this like big like secret plan, and it's gonna like help our team," because I think they were outnumbered. And then you saw kind of how like the structure was where they start, where it was literally the offense was behind like a wall of barrels, and like you could see very clearly both sides, and they played it up as like, oh, CT's like setting off this smoke bomb, and it's going to be like this awesome way for them to get past the 3 people on defense. And it was just like you shoot off the thing and it dies off within 10 seconds, and everybody knows where everybody is. So it just made no sense.
This challenge, man, this challenge could have been so much better. What do you think? Why wouldn't they just do like a guys heat of both like sides of the field? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know how it like rotated? Why not have like, let's say green start for guys, So green starts, you run through pink. Once you go through pink, you have to go through blue. You know what I'm saying? And then you would reverse it. So every team would be going against the same defense, or like, you know what I'm saying? Because then, for example, green offense never played against, who was it? Blue defense.
But
so why are both of them going at the exact same time? And it's more of a grind because you got to go through. And like that middle barrier could be like a resting zone if you made it across round one. Like, you know, it's kind of like one of those Madden mini games. Like you get a nice little like save. Do you want to save right now? And then you can continue. I think that would have been better, but what do I know?
Or if it was something where like, and I thought it might have played out like this, if it's like three guys from one team going against the 5 other guys total or whatever it is. And like then it starts to come like one team strategizing with another team. Like, oh, you know, like we already passed this level, like let us through, and then we'll be like, we'll let you guys go, and then it's just up to the time. Like I thought that could have been a way, to definitely make this a little more interesting, a little more strategy to it.
Yeah. Last question before we move on from the elimination. 1v1
challenge.
1v1. Yes. Andy versus Fezzy. How many yards does Fezzy have on Andy? One play. Does he score or not? Alex, what do you have?
Challenge?
In this challenge, if you just stuck Andy in the middle of the field and Fezzy was the only one running with the bags, does he score? Alex, I want your opinion first.
Oh, I think Fezzy's scoring.
Oh, I think he trucks him. I think he steps on him. I think it's very like I think it's just a blowout. And then, you know, if we put the roles reverse, if Andy was running against Fezzy, I'm picturing, do you remember a couple of years ago in the NFC Championship game with Reggie Bush when they do the little screen against the Eagles?
Laid out, helmet off.
So here's how it would go down. Not only would he not score.
Can you get that clip for us, Alex?
The second that he came behind the smoke and I saw which side he was on, I'm putting him 3 feet in the dirt. Period.
Okay.
And when I have the bag and I'm running past him, I'm literally breaking his ankles to the point where he has to get stretchered off and quit the challenge. Much like he quit the challenge this season for being a little bitch. I would do the exact same thing on a different scale and literally send him home. I wouldn't just score on him. I would break his ankle to the point where he has to get sent back on a flight home where he can try to mend things with Amanda and keep hooking up with 4s at the bar.
Whoa. So you're saying Fezzy would score against you, right, Andy?
Absolutely not.
Sounds like Andy's saying Fezzy would definitely score at least 1 touchdown on him. He would get 1 for 1. So thanks, Andy.
That'd be his first touchdown ever. Never going to happen.
Whoa. All right, so after the challenge, we go back to the house, and we go to the club. I mean, welcome back. Who's back in the week is the club. We get Nelly's apology first. To Kyle, they kind of bro it out, whatever. Still kind of calls him a snake. Like, he understands why he didn't move, but at least tell him. And, you know, he admitted he was wrong, Kyle, and all was forgiven. Anything else at the club, or was it just kind of random scenes? I guess the whole Bettina thing was the other thing. Bettina and Emmy, correct? Emmy out in the club. It was like angry Emmy, like basically turning into She-Hulk. It was very sketchy there.
Yeah, I feel like at the club is when the kind of all the girls voting, like the names started to get thrown out. Like, oh, if I get thrown in, I'm going to call this person in. The green team was trying to like keep everybody together, and then that all just led to Emmy and Bettina talking to each other at one of those tables. And I think Bettina, for the most part, was like pretty calm about it and like pretty straightforward. Like, and she said like she was honest and probably a little, not to foreshadow the MVP LVP, but like Bettina was telling her strategy to everybody, which she shouldn't have done. But she was telling Emmy, like, honestly, like, you know, if I go down and it looks like a puzzle, I'm probably going to call you out. And then that basically caused Emmy to go, I would say, full on alien mode, right?
Oh my God. I thought we were storming Area 51. It was so sketchy. Like, she was so mad. Like, she is like so like she's like one of the weirdest challengers I think we've ever had. Like, I just don't like she just blows up for no reason at all. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? Andy, anything from this?
No, not really. I mean, honestly, it seemed like Emmy always had that switch in her, and we've seen that switch get flipped already this season, where when her back's against the wall, she fucking bites, and that's exactly what we saw today. And she bites, and she bites hard, and she barks loud. So like, she said she's a wolf and an alien. I don't know what a wolf alien looks like, or I guess an alien wolf. But I think if you were to concoct one in a lab, it would spit out Emmy.
God, Boogie Brown, welcome back to the chat. Good to have you back. Yeah, the whole wolf alien thing. What is that? Does anybody know in the chat? Can you please tell me what a wolf alien is? Haven't seen one of those before.
Yeah, you
So-
have. Saw one
What?
tonight.
God.
You have seen one. She has blue hair.
God. All right. So after that, we go to voting, and then we kind of hear from Bettina, Emmy, and Amanda their takes. Bettina giving her little, "Oh, I'm a rookie," all that bullshit. Amanda just coming out guns blazing, which I like, and say, "Hey, if you vote me, I'm switching teams." I do like that. But ultimately, like we kind of knew, Emmy gets voted into the House for the House vote. We go to the elimination, and Emmy's looking at it. She's like, "What could it be?" And she calls out Bettina. So looking at this elimination, what was our overall thoughts? Basically, it's just target practice. I feel like it was a version of, I'm trying to remember who was in the elimination where you had to like you swung it. It was like a wall where it was like a square, and then it like went up. It went like kind of zigzag. I think it was Wes for some reason.
It was Wes and Nani.
Yeah, doing that. But overall, I mean, Emmy dominates. It was almost like a 1 seed playing a 16 seed in college basketball. It wasn't even fun. You know, the first 5 minutes are interesting, and then it's just game over. But what was your guys' overall thoughts on this blowout?
I thought it was weak. I thought it was uninteresting. In like the elimination itself, even if it would have been a closer result, I still don't think that makes it a whole lot better of an elimination. This is something where, like, if I was on the show, I would never want to do something like this because it just seems like such like a weird thing that you never have like any practice or experience doing. Bettina just gave up absolutely, no fight, no effort. The confessionals gave it away. I mean, I shouldn't say that because the whole fucking episode gave it away. I mean, Emmy's decision to call in Bettina, I think it made sense. She's just the worst girl. If she calls in Amanda or Big T, I think she probably still wins. I think it just makes other people in the house mad. Whereas like everybody was kind of ready for Bettina to go home. So I don't think she really could have gone wrong there. And I mean, yeah, just overall, I think the elimination was not that good.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, what do you got for us?
I agree with you on most things you just said. I very much disagree on the decision to call out Bettina, though. So if I'm Emmy, I'm keeping Bettina any given week because now Emmy is the sole rookie. So regardless of what the challenge is, regardless of what's going on in the house, she has to like carry that burden. Whereas if she kept Bettina around, she didn't have to. So if I'm her, I would have gone Amanda or Big T. Big T first because Big T stinks, and then Amanda second. But now Emmy does have a target on her back. So like, I don't understand it. I thought it was kind of a coward's move, but if you picked Big T, you were still almost guaranteed to win. So I thought the challenge itself was okay. It had a lot of uncertainty to it, but I mean, Bettina didn't even play, and I think Big T's result would have been very similar. and Emmy would have had that scapegoat of, oh, wait, Bettina's a rookie too.
Oh, absolutely. I think, Annie, I want your opinion of this. Which lasts longer? If we had a Bedina versus Big T elimination or the pig roast?
Easily Bettina and Big T.
You think they would last longer?
Trev, Anissa would still be hanging today.
God.
He was not completing that challenge. Like I there would be some, like, at some point in time, the winds would pick up in Colombia or wherever the hell they're doing this episode, and one of those targets would fall or it would accidentally graze into the little spear. The pig roast was never, and let me reiterate, never, one more time, never going to be completed.
God. My question is this, Andy, because I just think if when you talk about that elimination happened when there were still like 3 more eliminations after that, 4, something like that. There was a decent amount.
The 3s, 4s of the world.
5, 6, whatever. Do you think if the challenge was like hard, say, so you're telling me they would literally, let's say the next elimination was pole wrestling, and you look to the right and Anissa's still there?
Yes.
And then what do you think happens? Like the cleanup, the facilities guys are just coming up, sweeping up the sand, making sure it's all ready, and she's just still there asking for whatever?
Yes.
You're nuts. Anything else from this elimination? Anything else? I know we kind of went fast with this recap, but it was kind of just a straightforward kind of meh episode, I would say.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we got to end it kind of by talking about the
switcheroo at the end.
Yeah, the teams that we got now.
Yeah, so Emmy said she wanted to go back to Uncle Emmy, so she decided to take Amanda's spot. And it seemed like Amanda was pretty happy about it as well. So we'll see how that turns out. Anything about that move surprises you guys? I know she was like literally foreshadowing it the entire episode. We all knew it was going to happen. But the one thing I want to bring up is, do these people realize they're not going to be running the final in teams? Like, they know this, right?
They're idiots.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
I was going to say, I completely agree. Kyle has done too many of these to be going around the house saying, oh, I'm going to run a final with CT. And like, yeah, there's just no chance that they're keeping 3 teams to run a final. We're going back to individuals any day now.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, why would you not want to be on like a middle tier team? Because if your team's like having all the top players, you're going to run against all those people in the final. Why are you not taking shots at them now? That's what I just don't understand. But that's why we're sitting here and they're out there playing.
So the green team is still the same, right? They have Josh, Devin, Fake Jordan, Casey, her girlfriend Nani, and Tori. That's been the same team for a while now. They're 3-0. They let everybody know that. And then the middle team, they're always in the middle, blue, is now down to 4 people, right? It's CT, Kyle. So we don't really need to give our thoughts on the green team just because they've been the same the whole time. So we have on the blue team, CT, Kyle, Emmy, and Ashley. That's a small but strong team, right?
Yep.
That's a perfect way to describe it. And honestly, I think one of 2 things happens in the next 2 episodes is their lack of numbers ends up hurting them, or their strength in the numbers that they do have really helps them. I think it's either going to be one end of the spectrum or the other, where they're going to be screwed because they don't have a lot of people, or the fact that they have a lot of quality in the small quantity that they do have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that, like, that at this point Amy wins the elimination. She picks this team. She switches with Amanda, whatever. You know, at this point, the producers are overseas in their little room, and they're trying to create a challenge for next week that benefits the smaller team. They don't want fucking Josh and Devin going 4-0 here. They don't want the same people in charge, the same people scrambling. Like, they want one of the other two teams to win so that for once, you know, different people are on the chopping block.
I just don't understand why they don't just team up now and just, you know, throw, like, literally tonight's episode, you could have thrown that challenge to, because one of you would have been not playing against defense. Let them win, get them power, and be like, hey, this is our plan. We can outvote them. Let's throw these clowns in, and then we'll vote one of them in. Or I guess your person down there would go.
You're saying like the two teams that aren't the green team.
Correct. If they've won 4 in a row, you might as well be like, hey, blue and pink or whatever the fucking color it is these days, team up and be like, hey, let's throw this challenge. Just walk it in the end zone. Here's our plan. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
The last team, the pink team, red team, is now what? Corey, Nelson, and Logan, he's still around. He's still here.
Isn't he hurt? Is he like day to day, like questionable you know, he threw that nice little pass today. So maybe he's healthy. I don't know.
They couldn't do the read option with him. I think that'd be too much for Logan's hamstring.
We got a celebrity in the chat, guys. Love to see Jay-Z in the chat. Great to have you. Haven't seen you before. Watch the spoilers, though. We are a spoiler-free podcast. But anything else on tonight's episode, or should we go into some segments? Segments? All right. Let's dive right into some segments. Alex, what do we got for us?
So the first one is pot stirring, and in terms of challenge news, which is what that segment is, we just kind of talk about all the, you know, challenge world news that have been, you know, circulating the past few weeks. I actually don't think there's a whole lot. I think there's a couple smaller things that we need to just quickly cover. The first would be, and we might need some help from the chat here, but I have seen, I think this is the first thing we talked about on this segment. I have seen whisperings that there is in play for a second Cara Pauly Firefest event. I think they're planning their second one. I think it might be some sort of New Year's Eve party. So we might have to figure out a way to get everybody to go there. We also heard in the challenge world, we saw pictures actually that Fezzy and Amanda were back together in Colorado, not too far from where he played, I guess really far actually, from where he played college ball at Tennessee. But yeah, they were spotted back together in Amanda's hometown in Denver, out to dinner together. So, I mean, that's coming just weeks after Chattanooga. They caught Fezzy in a bar in Florida, you know, flirting with other girls, hooking up with other girls. So just classic that they're back together. Trev, what else has been happening recently?
Nothing much, I would say. You know, I know they're filming the reunion right now. No spoilers, obviously. But I know a lot of people have been talking about Andy going to this Firefest thing with Cara and Pauly. But me and Andy have something working up our sleeves. Maybe a trip across the border. Maybe taking a nice little workout class with a challenger that Andy's notorious to crush on. Let's just say
might not come back. I got a one-way ticket.
God, all right.
Wait, I do have one more question for you
but
guys.
Stay tuned for Operation London. Keep sleeping.
I got one question for you guys, and it's not necessarily challenge news, but it is related to the whole 500 episodes piece. And the question's pretty simple, but I think like you're not going to really have an answer off the top of your head. So the question I'm going to ask you guys is, they made a kind of big deal about it, you know, 500 episodes. They looked at the camera. 500 episodes, that's a lot of any show, any TV show. We have a lot to choose from. What's your favorite episode of the challenge?
God.
I mean, there's 500 out there. I was trying to think of what my answer would be. I mean, off the top of my head.
I think West Side Story stands out to me.
Ooh, that's a good pick. Ruins.
Yes, season opener, Bruins.
I think
Another one that I just bulge at, even though it's the stupidest shit ever, is the Free Agents opening episode with the Swift jump. I just love Jump for the Key.
That's why it's one of your favorite episodes.
It's just so smirk worthy. I mean, I think if we're talking about the most iconic episode of all time, I think we gotta go Rivals 3 finale.
I was gonna say the Rivals 3 finale. I think the Rivals 1 first episode was just really good because you had all these big faces. You had Adam. Yeah, you had Adam getting kicked off right away. I think that was a good one. There's probably, I mean, you just look at like the best seasons and probably take the best 2 or 3 episodes from there. But I just think it's weird because not a ton like just jump out at you.
I think you can look at a lot of those season opening, like even back in the day, I think there was nothing better than like Rivals, for example, how they would be like, Johnny, you stirred up a lot of things with a lot of people. And, it's like that suspense for a hot sec, and then he tells you. I think there's nothing more classic than that. Like, I love the pairings when they do it, and, they've just completely gone away from it, which kind of sucks. Andy, sorry for stepping on your toes. What were you going to throw out there?
No, I think you bring up a good point. I also think the first episode of any season is always set up to be a good one because every episode has that pre-challenge drama. But in the first episode, it's all about like, holy shit, who's here? What's the format? And everyone gets hammered. Everyone gets hammered. You have at least a couple naked people jumping into the pool. Like, no one cares about the challenge yet. You got the rookies. Hopefully, a couple of them are bad. But episode ones, I think, are always set up to be good episodes. But one that stuck out to me was, I believe it was the episode right before the finale. And I think it was Rivals 1. The elimination with CT and Adam and Johnny and Tyler. That was the episode before the finale. Yes, that one. And granted, I don't remember what the full episode was, but that was one of the best eliminations ever in my mind because there was so much riding on it. The past like 6 episodes was CT and Adam against the world. And this was the final, like, we've got someone in place to take him out. Like, we need to do it right here, right now. And even if the rest of the episode was not that great, that elimination made that episode one that stuck out to me.
I also think too, I'm not gonna lie, one of the best season openers of all time was Spies, Lies, and Allies, because Ed from the Circle came at the last second.
Yep.
I'll put a little works cited. I did see that in the chat from Mikey the Doctor, so thank you, Mikey the Doctor. That is very classic.
And one more episode, the last one that I have that just came to mind would be Free Agents, Jordan versus Bananas. And the reason I like that episode was just because it was right in the middle. It was the classic, challenge elimination. So like what the episode wasn't really special in terms of format, but it was just the fact that you had about 7 weeks build up of like these two guys fucking cannot stand each other. The format itself allowed for somebody to like send themselves in, even though that wasn't really a thing that you even thought of back in the day. And then as like the challenge played out, you thought like, I remember Trev and I watched this one together live at his house upstairs there. And we were watching it, like thinking like, could this actually happen? Like they hyped it up during the commercials all week. Like, could Bananas go against Jordan? And then obviously Jordan doesn't win and he's in the draw or the pull or whatever. And then he flips all those fucking cards, cements himself in challenge legacy. They cut to a commercial. Oh, it's
no, they don't cut to a commercial. Yeah. There it is.
It's
one of the most iconic CT.
And then Banana sends him packing, and in a weird way, you gained respect for both Bananas and Jordan. I think that was only Jordan's second year, so he was still very new. But that was just always an episode that I remember that was just like middle of the season, things got wild, it all built up, and it it exceeded expectations.
I'm telling you, I look back at Ruins, and I think that's a really fun season. Like, I mean, there's so many iconic moments from that. I mean, that first episode with Wes swinging on the rope to knock people off, it's just bananas. And I'll throw one last one out in Fresh Meat. The face of what's her name, Teresa hooking up with Wes after getting declined by Kenny, and Wes finding out that I know Alex is a huge Fresh Meat fan, and he knows exactly. Andy, you've never seen Fresh Meat too, right?
I mean, that's why they call him Mr. Beautiful.
Oh, they call you Mr. Beautiful. I've never heard that before. But Alex, yes, I completely agree. I think that was just a great EP. So, all right, what else we got segment wise?
Let's see. Next segment. So that was pot stirring. Next segment, we got This Day in Challenge History. This is actually going to be a two-parter.
Wait. Before we do this, you know, I think we've done This Day in Challenge History the past 4 weeks. And we've been kind of wishy-washy, answering some fast, some not so fast. How about we give it up to the chat this time to see who wins? And we'll see if Boogie Brown, being back, can be the first person to answer it.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll kind of you guys won't say your guesses, but we'll just kind of react to the chat.
We'll be our Al Michaels Collinsworth.
Yeah, the slide in. All right, so two-parter, two completely different seasons. The first question for the night is going to be This Day in Challenge History on an episode of The Gauntlet 1. Somebody lost an elimination who is now on All Stars 2. Who got sent home on the Gauntlet that is now going to be on the spin-off series that starts in about a couple weeks?
Yes.
Oh, you heard me?
Smirk. Next week, we need Trev and Andy to quiz Alec to test his knowledge. I mean, who says no?
Not me.
I almost wish like we came up with like our own trivia questions or trivia questions and asked each other it, but you know, that's just not a thing. All right, we got our first guess from Finn Duffy. We got LT, and then Jesse Adams goes Landon. Boogie goes LT. So wait, did Finn Duffy do the impossible?
Well, somebody else did the impossible. The correct answer on October 27th, who lost an elimination on the Gauntlet, was Tina.
Wow.
Coming in with the correct answer, the first person to say Tina. Good for RMC.
What a legend.
RMC, one of our oldest listeners. What else is new? Wouldn't expect anything different. 2.0, Alex, what do we got for us?
All right, second question. See if Boogie can come back, take first place here. On This Day in Challenge History on Cutthroat, Big Easy lost an elimination to who?
His health.
His health.
God, was the delay that bad?
I thought you said elf, like Will Ferrell.
Oh, his health. God. Hi, buddy. Hope you find your dad. Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
All right, let's get one more second here for some more answers to come in. Who lost an elimination to Big Easy? I think the first person there that had the correct answer was Finn. Finn Duffy. Luke beat Big Easy in the elimination.
Wow.
So I think on the fan scoreboard now we have Ryan McCord 1 and Finn Duffy 1.
And Boogie 0.
Oh, Boogie's got like a full season, so I mean,
he ran that shit last season.
He didn't run that shit. We were Anissa on the poll, and he was like 10 episodes.
It was no longer like This Day in Challenge History. It was Boogie. What's the answer?
Stump the Schwab.
That was it. The segment was literally Ask Boogie a question.
So what about this? Since Ryan McCord got the first answer right, what about we give him the pick of MVP, LVP order?
Wow, I do bulge at that.
So McCord, we know you're still watching. Let us know, Trev, Andy, Alex, what the order is going to be for MVP, LVP, because that is now. I feel bad for Finn because he could have. If it would have been a one-parter, he might have been able to give us the order. But that'll be whatever Ryan gives us will be our order for MVP, LVP for the night.
Whoa, sorry, Alex.
Me.
Oh, that was Andy. My bad.
All right, McCord, who do we got? MVP, LVP. Blow us.
McCord's popping some champagne for beating Boogie.
Alex,
There it
Andy, Trev. All right.
So I'm up first for MVP.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like when you get bad episodes, there's not a lot of good options either way sometimes. I feel like this is an example of one. I think my MVP for the night is going to be the challenge. It's going to be not the actual challenge we saw tonight. It's not going to be the season. It's going to be just the challenge as a whole, as a series, as a franchise. We made it. We made it to 500 episodes. I mean, we've been along the ride now for probably close to half of those. So I think my MVP, happy birthday to the challenge, 500 episodes old. I'm going the challenge.
Great pick.
Great pick.
All right. My MVP for tonight is going to be the alien Wolf, Emmy.
Wow.
I mean, she had a great episode. She was knowing that she was going to go into the elimination, wanted to go in. She won it. She won it in an absolute bloodbath, and now she's partnered up with 2 champions and someone who has also been to the finale. So she's in a great spot for the next couple episodes, and she also had a really good episode for tonight. So my MVP is going to be the alien Wolf, Emmy.
Good pick. My MVP tonight is I really wanted to do an MVP that I actually heard that Alex sent to me today. And do you remember what video you sent to me earlier today and who my MVP was? No?
I remember the video I sent to you. Was your MVP Amanda?
No. My MVP was no one in the video. I'm thinking about doing that, but this is the 500th episode, and the only person I can give an MVP to for sticking around as long as he has is TJ Lavin. TJ Lavin is my MVP. I think I would love to see the tally that he's on. I guarantee he's easily over 250. I would love to see exactly what number he's at, but for him to stick around for that many episodes, he's just the GOAT. I mean, you can't hate TJ, what he's done and how, literally the challenge is a part of him, and it's awesome.
Great.
Were you gonna say something else?
I was just gonna say, not necessarily related to your pick. It's a great pick. Just one final thought on the 500 episode thing. Do you guys think there's a chance? I know we've given shit to like challenge producers before because they'll show like flashbacks of like Rivals 2, but then on the screen they'll put like X's 2, and they like mess up like spellings of different things like that. Do we think there's a chance that it's not actually 500 episodes? And like if you went back season by season and just like did simple math, that like it's like we're at 485 right now or something.
Like, you want to do it right now?
I think there's a possibility of that.
Should we make this a segment, or is
anybody ever verify? I could see it slipping by them because they let, like, I know it sounds crazy, but they let shit that is simpler than that slide through the cracks.
By the way, TJ, 379 episodes.
Good for him. And do they count reunions? Do they count Champs vs. Pros?
So when I'm on IMDb looking at the episode guide to see how many episodes there are, it's 577. So
well, that's interesting because I just Googled total episodes of each season of the challenge, and I got 374.
See?
They do count the reunion shows on IMDb. But TJ has been on 379 episodes, is what they're saying.
But you're saying that there's more than 500 episodes.
But the thing is, some of these episodes, like, are reunion. Do they count or not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know how they exactly arrived to 500 tonight. That was kind of going through my head as, like, they kept showing it, and I was like, wait a second. Like, they have, like, spin-offs of this. The producers always mess these things up. Like, are we really sure that tonight's episode was exactly 500?
No chance. No chance.
I will say, according to Wikipedia, it does say 500. And Wikipedia is always accurate.
500 in what year? 2012, Andy? I know you're good at looking up.
Watch it.
All right. Enough digging around. My LVP tonight has got to be 1, I guess, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or how many people it is production. I mean, being the 500th episode, it was a shit show tonight. 1, Alex we don't even know if it's 500 episodes. We have no proof of that. 2, the challenge itself sucked. 3, the elimination was literally anybody could have solved it. You could have watched tonight's episode. This could have been your entire challenge experience of all time, and you knew exactly who was going home. I just think production this episode was one of their worst performances of all time. And the icing on the cake was the 500th episode where they just completely shat the bed on it, I think. So production's my LVP.
All right, I think I'm next. My LVP for tonight is going to be eye contact. I found myself rarely looking at eyes tonight. The combination of the confessional outfits and the shots from production, I think the only eyes that I was looking at were CT's beautiful blue things. But aside from that, I mean, my eyes were all over the place. Hand up, that's on me. Hand up for production, it's also on them. Eye contact was non-existent tonight. So that's going to be my LVP for tonight.
You were nuts.
R.I.P. Bedina.
All right. Alex, who you got for us?
Well, my LVP pick is going to be Bedina. I mean, it's my LVP is certainly not her outfits that she had tonight, any of them. That would probably be an honorable MVP mention. But I mean, she's just my LVP because she looked like she did not want to be there at all. And I think they exaggerated it a little bit. But I mean, just from minute 1, you knew she was not going to make it through this episode. And honestly, like, good for her. I know I'm giving her an LVP, but good for her for making it this far. Like, she made it through a few different stages of the challenge when she was, from the beginning, probably the worst person on the show, top 3 worst. So, I mean, good for her for making it this far. That usually doesn't happen. But, yeah, just a bad episode tonight. When you lose an elimination, when you don't show any fight, when your own team doesn't like you, when you get, like, outplayed by another rookie girl, when you tell your strategy to everybody, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You kind of got to show off something else, show off a different strength that you have. So I'm just going to go LVP. Don't like doing it, but I'm going to go Bedina.
All right. Well, that was our MVP, LVP. Before we wrap up tonight's show, I do want to point out, showing you guys right now, that I am signing Andy up right now. As you can tell, Shape Up with Gabby. There we go. We scroll down. We got the email right there. Oh, not now. Sent. Oh, 49.99 pounds. Well, you guys know what to do. Hit us up, Venmo, whatever. We got to get Andy a shape up class. 49.99 pounds. So
I would pay twice that.
God. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter at Stir the Pod. You can also follow us on Instagram at stir.the.pod. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Bye-bye.